to do, I'm going to try to go through this, and I'm going to tell you right now, we do not have all the answers. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers. I'm just doing the best I can to get us through this thing on Thursday. You should have, and I know high school for sure, for those teachers that are doing it, on Sunday night, you should have received 2 emails. One is for a what's called a live website. One is for what is called a practice website. Both sites have some meaning to. We're going to try to get to what the meaning is on those here shortly. But you have to make sure that you log into those. And again, there are 2 different parts for it. The one that is the live website, and I'm going to tell you, I had been going by colors. The live website is a blue color. That one is important. Blue is important. Live, you could think of live blue. I don't know. I guess when you die, you're blue. So. The live website is important because when we actually do the testing, that is the piece that where the test groups will come from, the setup, all the start will come from that particular test. The testing website, or the practice website, is a brown color. And again, both of these, as you can see, and I've got them bookmarked on my laptop, so I got to try to go through and find the addresses here. You can tell if you look here, and you probably can't see it because it's not blown up, but at the very beginning of each one of these where you log in, if you have not done so, it's going to ask you to click on this site, and then it's going to give you a username, and then this reset token, which to be honest with you, I've not found that to be of any significance. The thing that you need to make sure you're doing, is if you have not done so, is put in your password, because what you will do is when you actually log into the PARCC site, it will give you log in that password, and that's how you log into the different sites. Another thing with the brown site is that's where some of the training manuals and things can be found.
They're very similar.
They are. They're very, very similar.
I couldn't tell which one was.
And as I go through, I'll try to show you. Like I said, I actually was called in by somebody else, so I didn't get a chance to actually get this stuff set at a time. So I don't model the teaching that I'm doing because I'm doing it on the fly.
So with the brown and the blue websites, you have to have a username for both of those?
Yes, you have a username for both.
And it has to have a capital letter and
One was
or a special character.
And it'll say in there, for my people, for the high school staff, it will say on there, and I don't know how Mark or Ed set it up, but for the high school staff, you are listed as something different, depending on your name. Some may say, for example, it may say Fegan 15, or it may say Terrell 2015. It just depends on you have to have a certain number of combinations for letters and for the actual login ID. So like I said, it may say different things for different people. Patient test. All right, so once you get to this is a good site to have as a teacher, because this is the actual practice site, which you can link to off of the live site and the training site here, and I'll show you how once I get to that. But with this website on here, you can find different things such as practice tests for your students. If you look, you see right here where it says English practice tests. And you can actually click on them, scroll down, and it will actually give you the different grade bands. You can click on it. And if everything is working properly, it will give you the opportunity. It'll show you the rubrics. It'll show you how the things are graded, obviously, and it also gives you an opportunity to do a computer-based practice test. This is the same for all. Now, this is just for the core teachers, those teachers that are giving it. If you have not had a chance to go in and look at this website yet, you really need to do so, because there are a lot of different things, and we just did this with the math department, well, my high school math department a little bit ago. They had an opportunity to go in. There are a lot of things, and maybe if I click on it, you can see it, that are different that the kids aren't used to doing. They have to know how to. There's 13 questions. Here are just some sample questions. Very similar to other multiple choice, and both tests have this. You know, you read this little response. Here it goes. In words 28, Johnny Chuck finds the best thing in the world, whatever it is, you answer that question. But it will give you different sources of different questions, and different types of questions. Here again is another multiple choice. Here's one where students have to physically know that they have to take this based off of the reading, and they physically have to drag responses into a box. They can't just click on it. They have to drag it into a response. And these are things that you really need to find time during the course of your classroom period to try to get them to do this and show them how to do this for teachers. The practice test that we're going to be running on Thursday has, we think, we're not sure because we've not been able to see it, but we've been told that it will have, that is supposed to emulate what the actual testing session is going to be like. Now at the high school we've chosen to do English. I think at the middle school they haven't decided which one they're going to run yet. But we're just trying to get an idea. It's more not necessarily about you as the teachers. It's more, can our structure handle it, and to give the students an opportunity to actually look through the test itself. Okay, Adrienne?
So this is a question that she had brought up as well. So the practice website is where we're going to go.
Yep,
get
and
the
I'll get to,
practice test?
yep, and I'll get to that in a second. So
Okay.
I'll show you how to do that. So just bear with me. I'm kind of piecemealing. A lot of what we're talking about, as I said a few moments ago, is geared more towards the classroom teachers. If you're a proctor, I'll get to your question in a second. Okay? So just be patient. So again, this is just some samples, and they have multiple. They have multiple different tests that you can look at. So that's grade 3 band, goes all the way down to, there were some all the way down to grade 10 and grade 11. Same thing in some of the other parts as you keep looking. There's mathematics practices. Now again, this is only for math and English. Social studies and science is on a completely different platform, which we have not taken the opportunity to look at yet because we're trying to get this one to resolve first. We will go into that one in the next few weeks. So this is only if you're a math and an English teacher. Other resources that are available as you scroll down, you click here. These are some of the this will also link you to some of the other websites. I'm correct. Okay, so I'll walk through that again so everybody can see what I did. I had to make sure I was on the right thing. Yeah.
Are we gonna put in like the text to speech for,
That's
I
already
know,
been, all that's been done.
so they'll
accommodations.
have it for the practice test so we can test it?
No, they do not do accommodations for the practice test.
Will that mess with the infrastructure, the text to
No,
speech?
because they're all they're concerned about is just
Okay.
worrying about whether or not they're actually going to have
Okay.
the test or not. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So one of the website links that I sent to you is going to go to a website that looks like this. When you first link into it, you're going to go into something that looks like this. When you click on that bottom link that I showed you before, when you click on this link, it goes to this. Once you have set your passwords and you've confirmed that, then it will jump to this. From that point, very simple, you put in the state of Ohio, and then you'll have to put in your passwords again. I already done it, so it was already logged in. This site right here, this is the live site, live site. This is where when we actually do the math and the English testing, this will be the site that we will use. Very similar to when we do the practice test, underneath this testing section. And again, we'll probably train more on this as we start coming towards it. They had told us at the PARCC website, or at the PARCC site, about 2 weeks before is when you officially go into this other training, just to get everybody so that you're not overloading your brains with things that are going on. But in here, you would go into here, you would pick sessions, and there's different groupings picked, and then you would navigate through this. Okay, which again, I just wanted to show it more than anything else, but this is one of the other websites. As teachers, each one of you, depending on which building you're worked in, if you look up here, these will be preset for you. Middle school teachers, it will say National Trail Middle School. For elementary, it'll say National Trail Elementary. For high school, it'll say National Trail High School. You'll only have access to those groups, and there's ways that you can find students. You can see, as we do, since I'm listed on as the high school. You can see that all of we should be.
I couldn't, I did it like during lunch and on the practice
know why.
website, I couldn't get any students.
Yeah, you don't have access to it right now because they have not. You will only see access to the students when they've been assigned to your actual classes or testing sessions. The only ones that see any kind of admission with students are the test coordinators, which are myself and the 2 other principals. So again, just some different things. And down and low below here, again, some of the same different practice modules. Links to the different things. So on each one of the sites, they are very different. But like I said, one's brown and the other is not. The other is blue. So give me a second. I will pull up the other one.
Oh, the brown.
Yeah. I just have to go to
Yeah, the brown one is that, on that paper is number 1. That's, you type it in, that's what it is.
The TRNG stands for training.
And if you look here, just so you know too, if you look at the very beginning of this one is Ohio. It's specific to us. A lot of the website, when you put in the addresses, a lot of them are very similar. The only difference are the call letters. Okay, so here again, very similar at the front. You'll see the same link as you go back to here. Same link. You have to click on the bottom. It will take you to this. You sign in.
Should I need to tell to the office, please? Should I need to tell to the office?
And then it takes you to, crap. Okay, so this is the training website. Again, very similar to a lot of the things that we had before. Same, just the only difference is the color. Now, when we actually get to the test, Mark has, or have you passed that already, Mark? Yeah. There are two. You should have two.
I had to pass out the
Script.
I passed the script out.
Pass out the script. All right, there are going to be a couple papers coming around to you. As we go into the testing, we, as the test coordinator, now this is for everybody that's going to be in here. So at the high school, it's going to be Jody. It's going to be Adrienne. It will be Renee. And then probably in some form or another, Kenna, Elisa. It'll be you two, as well as Mr. Griffin, as well as Mike. This is where you guys will be coming into play. Everything is already set up for you. So as we go into testing, again, and this is very similar to how, and I don't know how the elementary or middle school, so Lynn or Mr. Wiseman, how are you grouping? You haven't decided how you're grouping yours, right?
We may need to change depending on how they get on that website.
So what I'm doing is I'm going to go through it how we've got it set up at the high school. And I will be there to help you do this as we go through it. So right now at the high school, we have set up, and actually you can see throughout the school district, here are all the different test sessions right now that have been set up in one form or another. And again, Mark said that they're going to go through and probably do some adaptations to it, but you can see that it's the session, where if it's been started or not, the date that it's scheduled for, and the potential test, as well as the number of students. At the high school, since that's the one I can speak more intelligently on, what I've done is I've set it up as 4 different groups. So we're going to use room 203, which is Brian Poole's room, so somebody will be in there. Jody's room here. We've got 24 students slated to take it here. We've got room 210, which is the computer lab at the high school, so there's 29. I'll have somebody in there. And then room 213, there'll be 28 students in there. So what will end up happening on the day of this infrastructure test, we will just simply assign those kids to different rooms. I'll basically say, your intervention go here, Mike, yours goes here. Ken and Lisa will filter your kids into different rooms and put you guys both in there. I have Mike Eiler cover the kids that are not testing. Because remember, this is only for us freshmen. And then what we'll do is you click on the sessions to start. And this is very similar to when we actually start the testing. As teachers right now, you don't have access to this because it's only test coordinators. But when we actually do this testing live in February, March, whenever we start it, you will have access to a specific group of students that has been assigned to you. Okay, but it'll be on the blue site, not on the brown site. So what you do is you go in, and it'll be 1 test per day, or however at the high school it's 1 test per day, 1 section per day. I think the elementary and middle school are doing very similar to that. So if you keep in mind, in English, I'm going to say this because at high school there are 3 subtests. So everyone has 3 subtests, and there are 2 for math. So we'll do that over the course of each day. So what you'll do is as you go into it, if you're doing just your session, you click on it. And if you look at the instructions that are on there, it does walk you through it. Once you click on it, you go to Students in Session. click on the room next to it where it says testing room down in the session list 203, and then it comes up with a bar like this. So what's going to happen is on Thursday, one of us will be around, and we're going to basically over the intercom state, at this time, teachers, have your students log into it, and what they do for that is each of you is going to have something that looks very similar to this. Take one pass it, please.
Now, could you have kids taking the, like, yes, we have algebra kids, the freshman kids in geometry and.
Yeah, and that'll be set up as a separate class. So
Each separate class, each class will have algebra, either right.
whatever class that kid is set up for.
Okay.
So if you look at here where it says student testing ticket, this is a generic testing ticket because when we set up the class list for the practice test, there's no information being collected. All we're simply doing is just imitating what's going on with the testing session. That's the same for all buildings. So it's very generic. Imagine it though when we actually get to the actual day of the actual test that they take, it will actually have their student name, it'll have their testing session, it'll have their location. And then at the very bottom, it'll have this very important information because this is how they, much like math, this is how they log on to the actual program. So what will happen is when we get into that room on that morning, we'll say to you as teachers, please have them log in. I think if Brian, if I remember right, Brian said that there's actually on their computer something that they link into, and they would go to this. Right here. What they'll do is,
That's when they sign in.
that's when they sign into the
So the
computer.
computer should be completely off.
Right, so they have to, if they're using their computer, my understanding is when we get to that point, Brian turns something on, and then their computers automatically go to.
No, they type in PARCC.
Is that what it is?
15.
Okay. PARCC 15, sorry.
PARCC 15.
So when they do that, then they come to this screen. And this is the same during testing as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when they get to this screen here, you're then going to follow the directions that are listed.
Mr. Wilson, I need you to come to the middle school office, please.
When they get to this point here, you're then going to have, all they're going to do is get to that point. We are going to come on the loudspeaker, I think is the way we decided we're going to do it, and we are going to say, okay, at this time, teachers, please start reading your script. Because what we have to do for this test is a little different than the normal test, is we have to go back to this screen, and we have to push start in order for them to be allowed to log in. Then from that point, once we've said on the intercom, it is now okay to read your script, you will then go through and read the script word for word, just like you would in any other testing situation. And then basically, the difference with this and the other test, very short script, and there's not a lot to read, and we don't stop the test at any point. When they're done, they're done. In the actual testing setting, if you've not looked through the manuals yet, and I don't know what's been sent out, I know I sent you guys manuals for you two at least, Mike and Adrian, so you've seen it already. So it's just like the OGT or the OAA. It's a lengthy script. There's things that you have to read word for word. There's things that we have to be aware of in the testing session, etc. For this one, we're not as overly concerned because we're just trying to check A, is the system prepared, and B, give the kids a first opportunity to practice the test if we've not yet done so. Okay? So once they're done, we simply log it out. They log out. They click out. The test is done at that point. There's no other follow-up. You will then simply tell us as a teacher, or we will be around, are you done? And then we can click off your testing session and we just simply, once I push start, it will then say something different. I think it says stop. And once everybody's done, we could stop. Things are done. So that particular session will be done on the test. Okay, any questions on that?
I just wanted to clarify, this says PARCC 15, they're using that to log into the laptop.
That's the correct instruction. Yeah,
And there's no
Brian did
password.
something different so that.
And Brian
Doing this,
will
I'll
take
Yeah, Brian did something a little different so that when you type in PARCC 15 to log into the computer, it's going to pop up right away to the sign-in screen. So actually, that's one extra step that's on that paper.
And they're not actually signing in?
They're just signing in just with that word.
So when the computer's off, when it comes on
Yeah.
and you get that login, like where you normally type in our teacher username, like our trail, they'll type in PARCC 15 and it'll automatically bring them to.
And that's what they type
That
in.
Here, let me refer back to an email from
And then
Brian.
on this.
Okay, on Wednesday, January the 14th, if you've not yet checked, there was an email sent by Brian on Wednesday, January 14th, that specifically listed this information of what they log in on. So if you don't have that, check it out. It'll be on Gmail. So if you're doing, unless you've forwarded your first class, you need to go into your Gmail account and check it out. But it says it was about 8:06 that night. There's information that lists that on it.
So they log in twice. They log in to say when the computer started, then they use the ticket to log into the test.
So they're using that same for as their ticket too.
No.
No. The ticket is completely different.
Okay, so they'll get a fake ticket on this on Thursday?
Correct.
Okay,
They'll have a
that's
fake
what I was
ticket.
confused
This
about.
for this test, they use the ticket just for this when they log into that site I had.
Okay, that's what I.
For this is where they use the ticket.
No.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes.
Part 15.
No, the ticket.
No, that's
Part
used.
This is the
to
ticket.
sign on the computer.
Okay, computer. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, this is for the ticket. To sign on to your computer, you use the PARCC 15.
Okay. That's why I'm getting confused.
So yeah, this is where you use the
So
student
you'll
sample
give
test.
us a.
Correct, and we will come around to each room in each location to give those teachers that information. And again, and that's very similar to when we actually do test day, because we will print off tickets that go specifically. If you look underneath here, there's a lot of resources that we do. There's a couple different things that you're going to have to do as a teacher. It's listed in the manual as to what it is. Here is the scheduled testing tickets. That's the piece you have in hand. There's another thing you have to do at the very end, the seal code. And I don't remember specifically. Lynn, do you have any remembrance? So again, these are things that as we get into February, we will be talking more about. But for the practice thing, the only thing you need to worry about is just the student ticket testing tickets. One of the downsides to this is you cannot see what the kids are doing or how they're progressing. If I recall, when you actually have the test session set up under your name, you should be able to see what each student is doing in particular. Very similar to math. To see what question they're on. You can watch the speed in which they're doing it. So a lot of those things are similar. Again, on this one, much like the other, if I can get to it, I don't think it's on here. Again, here's the general information again for the login. Make sure I have the right one. Yeah. So again, as you're going through the test prep, the other thing that this is good for too, if you look underneath test prep, it gives additional sample items, tutorials, practice tests. The one thing that we suggest too with the tutorials is as you go through it, there's a list of them, and again, it's all listed on top. And I would say if you have any questions, because I know we're skimming through this so quickly, please don't hesitate to ask because we want to make sure that we're doing this right. So please come at any point. Even after for the testing session, it's minimal, but by the time we get to March, you really have needed to have gone through some of these tutorials that are on there. There's videos that are not too lengthy. Here's a tutorial that's on, again, the test that I was showing you before. And you want to make sure that we're looking, here's some online student tutorials. And then there's also videos. Mark, where are those at? Do you remember?
But they were the Lexus. I'm not sure.
I'm not looking at mine. Oh, manuals and training. Underneath manuals and training, there are videos that you should probably be looking at as well too. If you go down to spring, you're a test administrator. Click on that one. Viewable training. And then here's the fun part. You have to log into this in order to access these videos. So when you do it, I will tell you when you go into that part, you need to have your teaching license number. Because if you don't, you can't log into it. I don't know why there's so many different protections. Jack just went through it downstairs. But it'll ask you your name, your school district. It'll ask you all kinds of different things, but you need to have your teaching certificate number on there. Maybe they're doing it to track who's actually looking at it. I don't know. I will tell you folks, we have absolutely no access to other than what you're getting. We've been on the phone more times with PARCC than you probably care to know. But what you do is you'll go in, you put your email in. Once you've logged into it, I will tell you too that the thing you need to be aware of with this is it's all based, at least the high school, we're all based off of Gmail. Gmail address is what I use for you. Lynn, what did you use for? So you've got to make sure you know your Gmail. I'm assuming middle school or elementary is the same way. On here are the videos that you can look at. The ones you want to pay particular attention to are the ones that say test administrator. I mean, you can watch the things that say test coordinator, you don't really need to. But the ones that specifically say test administrators are videos that you want to start watching between now, really over the course of the next few weeks. You know, if you got nothing to do on Super Bowl Sunday and the game's really bad, flip out your laptop, put on the game, and flip this on, and you have lots of entertainment for yourself. But again, just some different videos you can watch. Okay, again, went through it very quickly. Any questions? At any point, please don't hesitate. Come see. Like I said, here's what I'll speak for the principals as a whole on Thursday. Don't yell, don't scream, don't throw things, because we probably will throw it right back at you. Because we're not sure what this is going to be like. And then the whole issue that we're dealing, you know, who knows what the weather may be, so I guess I could bring that up. If we have a delay on Thursday, which is quite possible because they're calling for more bad weather, the plan would be to still run this. The issue for the high school is we don't have intervention, so we're going to end up taking a block somehow to do it. If not, right now, high school, we're doing ours during the course of intervention, not to take away from class time. Middle school and elementary, I believe you guys are doing yours at 9, if I remember right.
Similar.
So Ed and Mark will get that with you. If there's no school, then my guess would probably be we would do it the next day coming back. Okay? Again, questions asked. I can see faces. I just ask. Oh, I didn't mean right now. No. Renee?
I just want to make sure there are 3 different websites. There's a live website, the blue one, a training website, the brown one,
Correct.
and then there's a practice website where they can take the practice.
Correct. And underneath, you can get to the practice website from both the brown
And the blue.
as well. If you go down to the very bottom, here it is, Al. What's a better one?
You know, it might be a good idea for us to send out an email that says this is the real site admin, real site test.
We'll send out the
practice,
links for it. Okay.
So that there's one email that has all the links.
That's what I will try to do that later today, and I'll put what the links are and which one means what. And then you, like I said, down at the bottom, you would scroll down there.
There's a really good couple of YouTube videos to help your students navigate. They're like 6 or 7 minutes long. They're really good. I've got the website.
You want to send that?
I will send that
Okay.
to everybody. Yeah. So
Okay.
just-
That'll be good. And then I'll attach that information to the email that I send out there. I'll just do it NTLS staff. Someone else had a question? Yes.
I wasn't clear where you need to put the teaching certificate number in, because where I thought you said was right there where
When
it
you-
says email.
No, when you go to right here, Park Training.
Because I went in there and I've been into that training session.
So you probably have already set it up then? You may have set it
I
up
didn't
before.
have to put my teaching certificate number in. though.
I know maybe they might have changed it recently because I know I had to do it for Jack and I had to do it myself when I did it. Maybe you got lucky. It was underneath when you got to I think it was one that you picked on training.
The screen right before there where
Yeah,
it
and I can't go
said
back to
just
it.
email.
Yep. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
go back
that's
to
where
it.
I just put in my email and it went right to the site.
So it might have been set up for you earlier. Yeah, right here, this site here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and maybe you'll get lucky. Like I said, I know the last couple of teachers I've worked with on this, we actually had to go in and I had to get their teaching license. So you may not have to have it with you just to be safe. Okay?
Yeah.
And that website, that one is found just as you go through it. That is so that's an offshoot of this one right here, the training manuals. Anything else? Remember, don't throw things, friends.
If you give me this good, right? I'll set it down.
We'll have middle school, I will schedule that tomorrow.
Fine, thank you guys.